When we talk about video games, one of the biggest names that comes up is Nintendo. It is the oldest company that started to work on video game consoles and has many well-known games and characters under its name. From the first home consoles to handhelds, Nintendo has sold millions of different gaming units worldwide. But not many people know that the company has already been around for over 90 years before it started releasing video games. In this video, we will talk about Nintendo's origins, its evolution to the company it has now become, and its massive success in the gaming industry. Nintendo's origins can be traced all the way back to 1889, when it was founded by a man named Fusajiro Yamauchi as Yamauchi Nintendo. In the beginning, the company was focused on producing hand-painted Hanafuda cards, which was a traditional Japanese game with images of flowers on their face instead of numbers. From here, the company slowly kept growing and turned into Japan's largest card-selling business. It remained a straightforward and successful company until 1949, when a 22-year-old man named Hiroshi Yamauchi took over as the third president of the company. Hiroshi had a vision of expanding the company, but he was quick to realize that the playing cards business can only take them so far. That's when the company started looking in other directions, and in line with that, in 1963, they changed their name from Nintendo Playing Card Company to simply Nintendo Company. The company's new ventures included a taxi company, which they dropped after unions got involved, a love hotel, which was exactly what it sounds like. We'll keep it family friendly and not get into that. Another business that they tried to get into was selling packages of dehydrated instant rice. You've probably never heard about Nintendo being involved in these businesses. That's because all of these businesses failed. If you're enjoying the video so far, we'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Now, back to the topic. Eventually, after all these failed attempts, Nintendo decided to venture into the toy business. They released Japan's first electronic toy in 1970, the Nintendo Beam Gun. Then in 1972, Magnavox, an American company, created the first commercial home video game console. This console was called the Magnavox Odyssey. The console became widely famous, and 2 years later, Nintendo acquired the rights to distribute the Magnavox Odyssey in Japan. This was Nintendo's first step into the video game industry. Having been distributors for the Magnavox console and witnessing the popularity of video games firsthand, Nintendo decided to build its own console. Its first console, in partnership with Mitsubishi, was released in 1977. This console was called Color TV Game 6, the number 6 denoting how many game coils could be played on it. We know, quite a boring and unimaginative name, right? But Nintendo was able to sell 1 million of these consoles, which justified going ahead and later releasing the Color TV Game 15 and a series of other TV game models. At the same time, Nintendo had also started working on developing games for arcades. These included the famous games Donkey Kong and Mario Brothers. Then in 1980 came the company's first venture into handheld electronic games with the Game & Watch. Multiple series of the Game & Watch systems were released until 1991, and in total, the Game & Watch sold 43.4 million units worldwide. Then, finally, after all this building up, Nintendo launched the Famicom and the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the NES, in 1985. The NES was Nintendo's first video game console released outside of Japan. This new launch was well received and much loved, and really put Nintendo on the world map of video games in a big way. At this point, there was no stopping Nintendo. In 1989, they released the iconic Game Boy. It became an instant hit as it was portable, durable, and came with hugely popular games such as Super Mario Land and Pokémon Red and Blue. Many of us remember the Game Boy and probably have nostalgia attached to it. In fact, Game Boy remains popular even today. Nintendo released different versions of the Game Boy, and needless to say, the whole series turned out to be a massive success, eventually selling over 118 million units. Now let's make a jump to recent years. Nintendo has been doing great in the past few years. In 2017, they released the Nintendo Switch, which features 2 Joy-Con controllers that can be attached to a touchscreen display, which allows people to play it in hybrid mode. And of course, it comes in Nintendo's most popular games like Mario Kart, Super Mario Odyssey, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Animal Crossing New Horizons. The Switch is one of the fastest-selling consoles of the current generation. Over 125 million units have been sold to date. Given the success of the Switch, it'll be interesting to see where Nintendo goes next. But while people overall have a very positive association with Nintendo, the company hasn't been immune to its share of controversies that have made avid Nintendo gamers mad. For example, in 2016, when Nintendo announced that it would be launching a mini version of the NES, preloaded with 30 popular games, the excitement amongst fans was off the charts. Added to the fact that the nostalgic console was selling for only $60, Nintendo fans were practically begging the company to take their money. But they were in for a major disappointment, as Nintendo simply did not release enough units of it. According to a report from Forbes, stores did not receive enough units to meet customer demand. The end result was that retail stores sold out fast and didn't receive new stock from Nintendo for months. This made the console nearly impossible to find, and fans had to turn to resellers on bidding sites. Even with the Nintendo Switch being such a hit, there was an issue with the Joy-Con controllers not exactly living up to everyone's expectations. While some players are lucky not to experience any issues with it, there are a huge number of customers whose Joy-Cons suffer from an issue called the Joy-Con drift. This means that the Joy-Con sometimes picks up on commands that you haven't inputted, and it results in annoyances, like making your character or camera move when you aren't even touching the controller at all. This can make some games virtually unplayable. Nintendo is actually fighting a number of lawsuits because of this situation. As a response to all the outrage, Nintendo allowed people to send their controllers in for repair, but the shipping cost has to be borne by the customers. Also, a fix won't guarantee that the same issue won't happen again, because they still don't actually fix the controller design that leads to drift. There's a theory that Nintendo won't fix the issue because they want people to continue buying new controllers and giving Nintendo more revenue as a result. This is definitely a major disappointment for Nintendo fans. I guess with a company that's as big as Nintendo and has been around for as long as it has, there are bound to be some bad decisions that frustrate fans. Looking back on Nintendo today, there are a lot of good things to say about them. Going forward, it'll be fascinating to see what the next major development or addition will be when it comes to Nintendo's product line. So long as Nintendo can keep making great games for their iconic characters and deliver innovative gaming systems to their fans, they should continue to be among the top in the video gaming industry for years to come. What do you think? We want to hear any other thoughts you have about Nintendo. Also, comment and tell us about who your favorite Nintendo character is. We love hearing from you. Also, we hope you were surprised to hear that there was so much going on with Nintendo and it had switched so many industries before landing on video games. If yes, we'd like to know which part you found the most surprising. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content on some of your favorite companies. We'll see you in the next video.